Hey Falcon fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Atlanta Falcons today. It is mailbag time. Of course, we need to jump on here and answer all of your mailbag questions just before. Literally, we're right around the corner, I should say, is the Eagle-Falcon game coming up on Sunday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Before we get into your questions, you're going to be in next week's show. Use the hashtag Falcons down below. Ask a question, and then more than likely, I'll pull it and go ahead and put it in next week's mailbag video. Got to be a subscriber, though, so subscribe, and then go do the head down below, hashtag Falcons, ask your question. You guys know the drill at this point, but you want your question on the show, that's how you do it. Now's your chance. Go down below in the comments section. All right, let's jump into our Falcon mailbag questions. Mafi says, why does it seem that Arthur Smith has added more competition at wide receiver than left guard or offensive line? I don't know if it was on purpose, but now, and I know hindsight is 2020, it's very clear the O-line was not addressed enough. Now you're sitting there saying, Thomas, didn't you take an offensive lineman in the third round? The answer is yes, but that wasn't good enough. And I think the problem is not that they took an offensive lineman in the third round, is that they technically took a tackle. Mayfield's a tackle. They drafted Jaylen Mayfield to compete and potentially replace Caleb McGarry. That was the original plan, move him over to right tackle. When he didn't win out the right tackle job, and then you have the plethora of injuries, it was Gono first, then Josh Andrews, and now you got to move Jaylen Mayfield over. It shows that, again, with hindsight being 2020, they should have addressed more of the interior offensive line. I don't think that they've addressed too much on the wide receiver position. I mean, they didn't really go at anybody. They after Frank Darby later on in the NFL draft, and they did still add another offensive lineman, Andrew Dahlman, in the NFL draft. So I don't think that it was a bad decision to draft O-line. I think that with hindsight being 2020, we look back now and go, yeah, you should have gotten somebody better on the interior, because as we're talking about, and I've said this many times this week, on Sunday, I don't know how you're expecting Jaylen Mayfield to hold up against the Eagle interior defensive line. It's just too good. So hopefully he does, but hindsight being 2020, it's very clear they should have done a lot more in terms of the offensive line this offseason. But remember, didn't have a crazy amount of draft picks, and they really didn't have a lot of cap space either, so it is what it is. Matthew Boyd says, which player are you most excited for to break out this year? For me, it's A.J. Terrell. I think that as you go into this season with the expectations that we have for the Atlanta Falcons, they need to be tempered, and we talked about that. You saw my schedule prediction, 7 wins, 8 wins, whatever the number is going to be. But I'm excited to watch A.J. Terrell. I think he is a bright spot from a young player perspective on this roster. Now, of course, you still have young players in, Chris Lindstrom, young players in Kyle Pitts. Kevin Ridley is still considered a pretty young player. Deion Jones, Foye Oluokun, Michael Walker. But I think that the youngest and best player on this roster, because I don't consider Grady Jarrett to be a young player anymore, he's a veteran, is A.J. Terrell. I think Terrell's going to have a breakout year. I think he's going to be very, very good, and quite frankly, he needs to. Look around, not just the NFC South, just look around the NFC in general. I mean, you watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday night, you watch the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday night. I mean, they are loaded at wide receiver, and you worry about the Falcons playing the Bucs here in just a couple of days, and you go, someone's got to step up and play good defense from a secondary perspective, and it's not going to be Isaiah Oliver, in my opinion. It's not going to be Kendall Sheffield when he comes back from IR. Your best shot is A.J. Terrell. I think Terrell's going to be a future star on this team. I think this is his year to possibly make the Pro Bowl, and I think that we'll look back 5 years from now, and one of the few people left from the Dan Quinn era, because he was one of the last draft picks in the Dan Quinn era, who's actually good in the roster is going to go ahead and be A.J. Terrell. Now, let me ask you guys this. I think he's going to be pretty good this year, but this is a little bit of a stretch. I'm curious your thoughts. Will Terrell be a top 10 cornerback in the NFL this year? I think he will be eventually, but this year, it's a big question. Type Y down below if you think he will be, or type N down below if you think that he will not be. Rohan 10010, don't know how you say your name. Hashtag Falcons, how well do you think the defense will react with Hurts' rushing ability, and how much you think we will slow down Devontae Smith? I'm not really worried about Devontae Smith on Sunday. I think rookie wide receivers will tend to struggle in their opening game. I don't think he does much. I'm more worried about Hurts, and you mentioned the rushing ability. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be better than people thought this year. I think that last year he got a bad rap for accuracy being an issue, and if you watch some of the Eagle games, final 4 games of the year, he had a 52% completion percentage. He's had a good camp. Everything I've heard is he's had a pretty good camp, and the rushing ability is another factor that you now need to expect Deion Jones or Foye Oluokun or Michael Walker to be kind of a spy for Jalen Hurts, because I think that in a press conference I was watching between the Falcons and the Eagles this week, getting ready for the game, but Nick Sirianni, the Eagles head coach, mentioned he has a good game plan set up for Jalen Hurts, and they ran him a lot last year. I mean, he ran a lot of actual design quarterback runs, and so I'm way more concerned about the rushing ability of Jalen Hurts and passing ability too. I think the Eagles have some good weapons. I'm not saying Smith's going to be trash tomorrow, depending on when you watch this video Sunday. But rookie wide receivers tend to not do much, especially in their opening game. Unless it's a Justin Jefferson type situation, which I guess Philadelphia hopes it is, I think Atlanta's going to be just fine. And Terrell's going to be on probably Devontae Smith the entire game. So Devontae Smith got the better of him in the Clemson-Alabama game. We remember that one a couple of years back. But I think Terrell, obviously, actually being in the NFL for a year and Smith having his first game, I think Terrell will get the better of him. So much more worried about Jalen Hurts. Make sure you guys, again, are subscribed to the channel, because we're going to have a full breakdown of the game on Monday morning. And so when you get to your job, you're going to get your cup of coffee, and then, of course, course, you go ahead and go in your subscription box. There should be a video more than likely by noon of me breaking down what happened. Hopefully a Falcon win, but it'll be up to, obviously, the Atlanta Falcons. So make sure you guys are subscribed because that content and plenty more coming in the next couple of days. Victor says, what is the defense's strength this year compared to last year? Linebackers are the defensive strength. I think they were the defensive strength last year. I think you're going to get a little more consistent play up front, which was not the case at all last year with Dante Fowler being out. If Fowler gives you 8 sacks this year, then the defensive front is like leagues better than what it was last season. The secondary, I think it's better, but if it's better, it's like, it's like barely better. So linebacker is definitely the spot where you would sit back and go, yes, this is the group. I mean, Deion Jones is fantastic. Foye Oluokun was really, really good last year. They love Michael Walker and what he's able to do. I think he's going to be on the field a lot more because they want to see him in action than we probably originally expected going into the offseason. But, I mean, I think overall, this defense will be good if Dean Peeves is some sort of, magician with a wand. Waves the wand and gets the defense to be 16th in the NFL. Like, he's not going to have a top 10 defense with this roster, but maybe with the scheming, maybe with the the pedigree that Dean Pease has, you can go ahead and hope for a top 20 defense. And if that's the case, then it's a lot better than where it was last season. Aiden Weatherly says, we perform another 8 and 9 or 9 and 8 year. Do we go full rebuild from there or continue to try and win now? That's a great question. Man, 9 and 8 means you're a playoff team, which is tough to just go full rebuild. But I will say this. I think you draft a quarterback in 2022. I think 100% 2022, you draft a quarterback regardless of what happens. Now, if they win less than 8 games, then you're for sure drafting a quarterback. If they win, double-digit games, then probably not. But as we talked about, I'm right in that 7 to 9 win range. And 9 and 8 still might mean that you need to get a quarterback because Matt Ryan is aging, right? He's 36 years old. He's not going to get much younger. I think they will eventually go ahead and draft a quarterback. But that's a tough question because, again, 9 wins, and let's say you're the 6th seed in the playoffs and you almost win a wild card game, or heck, you win a wild card game, then you would just want to reload, right? Get a pass rusher, get another cornerback, maybe an offensive lineman. I mean, you could go ahead and think about reloading, especially if Matt Ryan is good. I think it will all depend on where Matt Ryan is at the end of the season. But I think regardless, you got to draft a quarterback at some point because, you got to have the future, whether you love Ryan or you hate Ryan, you got to have the future ready to rock. Let me ask you guys this. Will the Falcons draft a quarterback in 2022? Yes, if you think they will, type 1. Think that they will not, then go down below and type 2 down below in the comment section. Okay, one more here. Matthew Decker says, how many yards will Kyle Pitts have this season? That's a tough one. And we talked about this months ago here on the channel. I went through a full breakdown of, the great tight ends in the game and what they did their rookie years. And Kelsey was really good his second year. Kittle was very average his first year. Gronk was very average his first year. The average number of yards for a rookie tight end is 600. Maybe even a little less, maybe 450 to 500 yards. And so I think Pitts is special. I think he's different. I think he's the X factor in this game coming up on Sunday. I think that he is going to be the chance the Falcons need on offense, get the ball out quickly into his hands, make some guys miss. We forget how fast he is. He's running 4.40, obviously, at the NFL Combine. I think he's the X factor, but I think we need to understand exactly what we got in Kyle Pitts, and that is still a tight end. As freakishly unicorny giant as he is, everything we've heard, rookie tight ends don't perform well. It's the same thing for rookie wide receivers. Besides Odell Beckham Jr., most rookie wide receivers not named Justin Jefferson and OBJ don't do much. And so, for the Eagles, Devontae Smith, probably not going to do much on Sunday. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be in the offense a lot more than we originally thought, or at least had hoped. But I would say 800 yards is probably the ceiling, and 600 yards is probably the average if you want to go overall, numbers right now for Kyle Pitts. But as I mentioned, he is the X factor in this game because Philadelphia's linebackers are their weak spot on defense. Rodney McLeod, their safety, is probably going to go ahead and be out, and so you're going to get a lot of one-on-one matchups with, essentially, either a second-year player, Kayvon Wallace, or a young linebacker, Alex Singleton, against Kyle Pitts. And if I'm Matt Ryan, I'll take advantage of the Kyle Pitts matchup 101, obviously. And they've been able to hide him well by not playing him in the preseason, but if I'm not playing in the preseason. So hopefully you have some good packages that Philadelphia's not ready to see or experience. All right, all time for today here on our Atlanta Falcons mailbag video. Again, if you want to be in on next week's mailbag video, because we're starting those back up again because the season is here, it's very simple. Use the hashtag Falcons in the comments section, and then you just go hashtag Falcons and then type whatever question you want, and then I go down below and pick the best 6 or 7. That's how it works. And essentially, if you're a subscriber and you ask a good question, the odds of you being actually pulled to be in a video are very, very high. So make sure you guys go down below and use the hashtag Falcons and ask any sort of question. Also, be sure to subscribe because we're going to get a full breakdown of this game coming up on Monday. As I mentioned, I will be there, Section 131. I will be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I live in Atlanta. You guys know this. I will be, of course, enjoying my first NFL game in a very, very long time, a couple of years. And so hopefully you guys are going to be there as well. If you see me, say hi because it'll be a lot of fun to see you guys out there. But I'll be at the game. Looking forward to seeing what's happening to the Eagles and the Falcons at 1 p.m. at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Ultimate for our day here on Atlanta Falcons Today, our mailbag video. I'm your host, Thomas Mott. We'll go ahead and sign off. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your day.